over to you.
That's a good choice. Number 3 for me. This is going to be left field because I think I was the one that got you to play this. The Witness.
The Witness. Ah, yeah, that's on my honourable mentions. The Witness. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. Skip, I'm going to say go to this time code and skip, like Red Letter Media.
Oh, because of spoilers.
Because of
Yeah.
spoilers. As soon as you figure out that like the puzzles are part of the environment, that game just fucking opens up and it's
Oh my god, that moment where
incredible.
you go, wait, that looks like a circle. Can I?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can click on it.
And you literally, your brain just goes, you're like, oh my god. Because like I looked at the
Yeah,
sun.
in case people don't know, generally the game works is like you're in this on this island, and you go up to these like screens, these displays, and they have these like line puzzles. For the most part, you have to take a dot and draw a path to the end. And it's like really simple. Just draw a path through this maze to get to the end, and then the game just keeps layering on more and more like complications and tweaks and like
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff like that. But then in the actual environment you're in, there's also puzzles like that. And the moment where you actually go like, oh, these aren't just on the screens; they're also like
Everywhere, yeah.
islands.
It's
Yeah,
it's the combination of A, figuring that out, B, the noise it makes, which just sounds fucking phenomenal. And
it's
then
great sound design. Yeah,
yeah, it just does this boom, and then you just see like all this like dust fly away, and then you follow the dust to a totem, and you go, "Oh my god, there's like 30 of these
yeah,
somewhere," and your brain just completely implodes, and you just want to just figure it out. Where are they all? I want to do this. I couldn't,
yeah.
and this is the guilty thing. Couldn't complete it. Too hard. Couldn't do it.
I got stuck on the top of the mountain. There was like a
Yes.
puzzle, and I did like one thing. For whatever reason, I think I know what I need to do. I just can't get it to work. I can't open the mountain. I've done nearly everything else. I've done all the lasers.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of the environment ones. But yeah, I got stuck on the mountain.
I
But
got
yeah,
in
even
it. I got in it, but I
all
couldn't
right.
get any further because that's when it just suddenly goes, do all this stuff in 10 minutes. I'm like, fuck off. No, I'm done.
Yeah, I need to go back to it. Try and finish it. I was really stubborn. I wouldn't look up anything. I
Mm,
was like, no, I'm not getting help. I'm gonna do it all on my own. But yeah,
yeah.
that it's just the puzzle design is amazing. It start from this really simple premise, and the way they alter it, the way they kind of it leads your hand as well. So you have like 4 panels. And it's like, oh, here's this sort of idea. Like
Mm.
you have to split the colors into 2 sections. Yeah, all right, cool. And then it's like, and this one's slightly more complicated, and then this one's more complicated, and then it's like this one's like the hard one to complete it. You go, oh, okay. Then later on, you'll have one which merges 2 types of like puzzles you've seen earlier, and
Yeah.
then there's all sorts of stuff with like light in the environment.
Mm.
Um, there's one which took me forever where the sheen on the surface tells you where you need to go on the map,
Oh,
and
yeah,
throw
yeah,
the
yeah.
gypsum on.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
awesome.
just full of little stuff like that. You're just like, oh god, it makes you feel so smart
When you
and
figured it
also so
out.
dumb at times. But like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just it's just great design.
Oh, yeah, it's an incredible game. I mean, this is one of the very few games where, like, I was playing it on my own, and Kirsty started watching me, and then she's like, "You need to do that," and she'd been because usually it's this. She's on the phone doing this, and then after a while, she went, "You need to do that," and then slowly it'd just be like, "You need to," and that's when I know you've got a good game if you've got Kirsty coming, jumping in, and actually physically saying, "You need to do this, this, that, and the other." Um,
Yeah, like housemate Andy watched me playing it. He started playing it. Like I've recommended it. People play it. Yeah, people see the game and want to play it,
mm.
and then talk about it. You get all the stories and like there'll be a puzzle which you thought, oh, it was really easy. It was just so obvious what you need to do. And they were like, oh, that was really difficult for me. And then another one where you was like, oh, I was so stuck on this. Anyway, what? How do you not figure out it was just this? And yeah, it's such a fun game to talk about.
Yeah, and it's one of these. It's one of these games. I know it's got a full story to it, but I just don't care. I just
Oh, there's
literally
all these like
don't.
weird
Yeah.
educational videos
Oh
in this.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things I remember finding in one of those educational videos is a fucking circle. And it actually is a
It
circle.
works.
And it works. And I was
Oh
like,
my god!
oh. And I did it.
Oh my god!
I was watching it. I was like, hang on. And then it came on. I was like, and then I just made it. And it actually connects up around the edge of the monitor screen all the way back.
Oh my god! I didn't get that one.
Oh, I was absolutely losing my shit with it. I was like, oh.
I just remember the video where it's a guy with a candle and he's trying to walk across, and the candle keeps blowing out.
I think it's that video.
Is it that one?
I think it is that.
Oh man!
It's something like that, or something about some kind of nature program or something. But yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with it is just how pretentious it could be.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I kind of let it go because it's like
You don't have to engage with that if you don't want to. Really
because it's like you find the little recorders telling you all these like bits of poetry and shit, and you're just like,
it is.
Who cares?
I think there's a lot of Jonathan Blow's like philosophy in there and his beliefs and which you can take or leave. But
I just left it because, like you said, it's just like, why do I want to know about like the philosophy of economics? Why do I?
Yeah, it's like completely optional. But yeah, that nearly made it. It was really close to my top 10. Really, really close.
Yeah, that literally was like, no, that's going in. So a lot of these games are where it's like, I know I can recommend it hand on heart, and somebody will play it and enjoy it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of.
Anyway, what's yours?
They always took me into that one, but it's some of the choices I picked was almost like sticking up for a few games. Like I feel like Mankind Divided and Alien Isolation, like critically, didn't do very well. And I was like, no, these are great games.
No, they're genuinely great.
I want to put these on to be like, yeah. The next one is probably on yours actually. Return of the Obra Dinn.
That was one of my honourable mentions because I didn't have it because it's a PC thing. But yes, that would have
on PS4.
I know it is now, but I played it on PC.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I played it on PC, but it's on, yeah.
That was one of those where it's like, it's on PS4 now, can I get away with it? And I couldn't. I didn't know if I could. But no, that was one of my games of the year last year. Mwah, that's another great game. Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it's similar to The Witness in a way, where it's that sort of sense of like discovery and revelation.
Finding the fucking pipe. I just remember the pipe. That's what I was like, I get it. I get what this is. Yeah.
So the game, if people aren't familiar with it, is you're like an insurance guy. He's been sent on this like shit. It's set in like the early 1900s or something like that.
1800s. Yeah. It's when pirates are still around, basically.
Yeah, so it's all like colonial Britain stuff, and a ship is like washed ashore and it's been missing for ages, and none of the crew are on it. And you go on, and your task is to assess the damages, essentially. But that's just like the ship. And you have this timepiece that allows you to see into the past, and you get these still scenes with like dialogue, and you see how people die. You go up to their corpses, and then your timepiece sort of shakes, and it shows you how they died in like a sort of still form. And the job in the game is to try and match up people's faces and identities with their name and also the method in which they died. And that's it, really simple. There's like 100 people on the ship. You have to find them all, match the names.
It's a weird whodunit. It's like trying to find out who killed who. But it's like there's just so many different ways how people will die. Spoiler alert. You just blame the captain for all of it. That's one of the achievements.
Yeah, hidden ending is like just blame it on the captain, which is fair enough, yeah. And there's also can leave the ship halfway through if you want.
I actually did that. When I first played it, I went, fuck this. And I walked off, and then it was just like, nope. Yeah. It was built for someone like me just going, nah, I'm not going to do what you tell me. And then it just went,
but when you start... I mean, it starts off really simple, like, you see a guy getting shot, so you know that's how he died, and he's like, someone calls him the captain, so you go, all right, this guy looks like this is the captain and got shot, like, fair enough. But then, like, you have to look in, look at people in the background, seems to see like little visual clues about them, and like try and figure out like say who's like mates with each other, and like all, and you just piece together who these people are and how they died.
And it comes down to like how they look as well, like and what they say, like their ethnicity and the language that they speak.
Yeah.
Because like there's one bit where I can't remember what language she speaks, but she's going on the boat and she says something in a different language which doesn't get translated, and you have to try and figure out what language she was speaking. It's I think it was Dutch or something. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
Do you know which bit I mean? She's basically she's being put onto the boat because this is all spoilers, by the way. But yeah, like it's one of these games. As soon as you finish it,
I mean, we're talking about. I don't think it's the experience is putting it together yourself. Like, yeah, we're not really spoiling it too much.
I mean, it's the whole aesthetic of it as well, like the whole weird like VGA graphics
cool, like,
thing.
Two color.
Yeah.
So,
I think we were wanting to do it in VR as well, and I'd love to play that in VR. I think that'd be a really cool experience to do. But yeah, there's one bit where it involves a pipe, and I saw the pipe on someone else. And I'm like, oh my god, I know who you are. And that was another moment like The Witness where it's like, I get how this game works. That's when it all started to click, really, like who's who, where did they go, what happened to them. But yeah, that's a big influence on a game I'm working on in my personal time. But yeah, which I'm still working on. But yeah, Return of the Obra Dinn, I was going to put in my list, but I didn't know if I was allowed because it wasn't on PS4 when I played it. I'm just going by what I played it on. No.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. For me, when I said like generation, for me PC was kind of like kind of lumped in with that anyway. But yeah. What's next for you?
Oh right, okay. The Surge 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I absolutely fucking loved it. It was almost like a warts and all kind of thing where it's like, I loved it. I just love it, and I like how it plays. I like as soon as you figure it out, it all makes sense. I like the idea of ripping things off of other people and slapping them onto yourself, getting the sets. I just don't know. The story's absolute garbo. It's garbage. You know, it's rubbish. But I like the fact that is it Deck 13 who made it? Is it Deck 13?
Yeah, that sounds right.
They always try. And you can
their
tell.
games have a lot of heart. And I think it's like one of those like it's like a massive leap for like a sequel from the first one. Like they did loads of The Fallen, which is like their sort of Dark Souls game. It's a bit not really good. I can tell you tried, but good effort. But
I think I did 3 hours and gave up.
Oh, you get in there. Like you've gone down your own direction with the sci-fi thing. Yeah, it's not quite that. I think the Surge 2, they're just getting better every game they make. They're getting like closer and closer.
Do you know what as well? And I think this is why I like it so much. If you made the Surge in VR, that would be the perfect VR game.
You think? Because it's like a third person.
If you kind of retool it and you just literally grabbed all the people's arms and like ragged them off.
I guess that's like the directional parry system and stuff like that, which
like that,
kind of
and like just ripping off the bits and like slapping it on and all that kind of stuff, and all seeing these giant robots like that spin around and you've got a little drone on your back, and you can just tap it and it goes off and does what it needs to do. You can pick it up and readjust it, put it back on. I just think the Surge, if you did it in VR, I think it'd be awesome. I think it would be.
I can say that. Yeah, I can say. Yeah, sold me on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, and this is what I mean. I think the Surge as a universe has got so much going for it, and they've just not quite got there. And I think Surge 2, for me, is like that almost gateway in where you're like, you are so goddamn close, and I know you can do it. You're nearly there. But yeah, I
really want to see what they do next, because it just feels like they're on this upward trajectory where.
They're literally on that cusp.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an ugly game actually. The Surge 2. It's not a pretty game.
Yeah, Again, it was one of those I considered, and yeah, for me, it was just slightly, yeah, not quite there.
Yeah,
Um,
but I don't know why. I just like when you. The reason why it's on my list is that you can tell they loved it. They really wanted it to work, but they just didn't quite have. I don't think the budget, and probably not the right people in the right places because they're all still kind of learning. If
yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah,
And I think that's it. And I think the third time they do it might be right. But
yeah.
I really like the Surge 2. I think I completed it 3 times. I loved it.
I did
Absolutely.
it like I was going for the platinum. I didn't quite get there because it's one of those where I took a break and then I went back to it and I just forgotten like how to play the game properly.
Yes, I remember saying to you, just parry like this and parry
Yeah,
like that.
but you know when I keep playing it through and those dark humanoid creatures that split in half
Oh,
and they're like
yeah.
so brutally hard. It's like I just lost the knack of playing against them and everything. And I couldn't get back into the swing of
And
things.
I think that's where it fell over a little bit because, like, I found myself just brute forcing my way through them, just like turning to those like boxing glove things and just
Yeah,
beating the
yeah.
shit
I
out
love
of
I
them.
love the claws. I use like two big claws. Just yeah. Um, yeah, really good game.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think that's a controversial choice probably to go in like top 10 games, but I lost a lot of time on the Surge 2, and I think it's one of those games which I think one of those developers rather that I think are on that cusp of
Yeah,
literally.
people like 10 years in the future, people might be looking back and go, "Oh, like how did this happen? Where did this game come from?" It's like you can see it, you can see the progression, you can see it.
Yeah, but yeah, it does
Um,
look like a PS3 game though. It looks
it is a
awful.
little,
Yeah, but I think it's part of its charm. I think that's the
yeah,
thing I like
yeah.
about it. It's got a lot of charm to it. But
As you say, it's not many games you play where you just got right straight in again. Like I want to play through it again.
hmm.
Just like straight in again, and we
Yeah, because
play
I
this
mean,
thing.
like when you start it again, the game does change.
Yeah,
It does
yeah,
change, and I had to go, wow, okay, you have actually changed it. So, all right, let's play it again. And then I did it a third time. I was like, not much of a change, but I still fucking love it. Let's just do it again.
yeah.
But like, there's one. I mean, the only boss I think I had a huge problem with was the one that was like a witch. She like rode on a staff and stuff, and she threw it and stuff. She was like a can't remember her name. She was like the leader of the nanite people.
Oh, I destroyed her. When did she have like tentacle arms?
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, I
Yeah.
butchered her.
I couldn't do it. Everyone else I didn't have a problem with, but her, she just stopped me for ages.
There was one I think I had trouble with, but
They
uh,
reuse a boss 3 times as well. The
yeah, I think that was it. That was one of the reasons why it didn't make it. Is with like Dark Souls games, I think they live and die a lot on the bosses because I think
mm,
those end up being like the most memorable moments of those
mm,
games.
yeah,
And Surge 2 doesn't have many of those, and the boss fights aren't quite there.
mm,
Um, yeah, I think that's one of the things where it sort of lets itself down a little bit.
yeah. But this
Um,
is it where you kind of I don't know whether or not it's because they just didn't have the budget or they didn't believe in it or they were
oh
just
yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
guessing
what it
it just
was.
came down to time and money, and
Mm.
yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
what's the next one, sir?
the next one is probably maybe the actually no, it's one of the most AAA of AAAs, but it's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, okay, that's a good choice.
I love that game, and it actually I spent a lot of time thinking about it because in many ways it's like the sort of game where I kind of really grown to despise
Mm,
the sort of open world quasi RPG
mm,
sort of game
mm.
that's kind of sort of dominated like a lot of major releases now. There's so many where it's just like here's this big open world, we've got all these RPG mechanics, like you know,
Mm, mm, mm.
go around and do meaningless copy and pasted shit again
Yeah,
and again and again until you get bored.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
so
am.
it's like, why do I love this game? Why is this one different? Why was I like compelled to like do everything?
Mm,
Um, and I've got like a few. I kept off like a few answers, and one of them, I think the quest design is actually pretty good. Like, you always learn something about the characters or the world, like just the general story.
Yeah.
Um,
Aloy. It was Aloy, wasn't it? That was,
Aloy, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But
Aloy.
like, I think they made a really nice world that was fun to sort of learn more about.
Mm.
And so a lot of the quests you did felt like you were rewarded with like some tidbits about the whole.
There felt a lot of like cause and effect as well. So if you did one quest for someone else and then came to another guy, they'd make a slight pass at that, like a little comment
Yeah,
at it.
yeah,
You know, I seem to recall
yeah,
that.
definitely. It did feel like there was a point to doing them. It wasn't
Mm.
just here's some rewards, here's some XP or whatever.
Did you ever play
Uh,
the DLC?
yeah, it's really good.
I never played
The,
it.
the DLC, the Frozen Wilds, it's one of those like, oh, we've these are lessons learned.
Mm.
It's really like it kind of fixed some of the flaws from the main one. Some of it's like cosmetic, like they fixed a lot of the facial animations, which were a bit ropey on like NPCs.
Yeah, I was just going to say on NPCs, I remember them being like, wow, wow,
They're a
wow,
bit wooden. Yeah, they're a lot better in Frozen Wilds. There's quite a bit more environmental puzzles, and the level design's a bit more like involved and intricate. And there's some new enemies, and the stories like it relates to the main story, but it's also its kind of own thing. Yeah, it just it plays like, oh, this is kind of what we've learned from making the game, and it's kind of like peak Horizon in a way. It's like the best stuff in the game because it's the stuff where they now know what they're doing with it.
Yeah. I
So
remember the dinosaurs, like the ones
yeah,
that you
that's
were
what
like the like radar towers. Sorry, go on. You were saying sorry.
yeah. So the next one, it was like it's the combat and the way you fight the dinosaurs.
Mm.
I think they did such a good job with that, and I think that's what kept me going. Was they were almost it was always interesting to fight them. The way they sort of set it up because they
Yeah,
had all these little parts. You had your weaponry had like tripwires and like ropes and nets and just the tools they gave you were like interesting to use. It wasn't just like gun, bigger gun, rocket launcher, whatever. It was fun to experiment and play around with. And as you leveled up and unlock stuff, it would change how your encounters worked.
yeah.
So I
There
always,
wasn't any leveling up, was there? It was just here's a new thing to try. I seem to remember.
yeah. So like your abilities get better, or you can do new things with them. And I always felt constantly engaged because the monsters were changing up, or the ways I could fight them was changing up, or the way they put them all together in the environment and how they like faced off or interacted with each other, and the way you could like hack some of them and use them against them, and
Oh yeah.
had so much. Yeah, there's had so many like systems going on for the combat that it just kept me like sort of motivated. It's I probably have a lot with the open world games is the way you fight at level 1 is pretty much the same you'd fight at like level 60 essentially.
Yeah. Mm.
You know, you play like Assassin's Creed game, you do the exact same shit pretty much. You do unlock abilities and everything that like, but like for the most part the way you like fight is almost the exact same strategy. And I felt like Horizon did a really good job of like giving you new ways of fighting.
Yeah, because I also remember as well, if you went to certain locations, you could find out what they really, like what the places actually were before the fall. That's going into spoilers.
Yeah.
Those were the bits I really liked. You know, like
yeah.
giant stadium in the middle of nowhere. Like it didn't look like a stadium, but if you got to a certain like viewpoint.
Yeah, the memories of that depressed guy talking about the world. Yeah. It's just full of stuff like that. I basically felt it never wasted my time. Like,
yes, I agree with that. Yeah, because some games really do, and that never really did. Yeah,
I never really felt like it was wasting my time or forcing me to do anything. It was all up to me, and for the most part, I just wanted to do the stuff they gave me. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's Horizon Zero Dawn.
that's a good choice, mate. That is a very good choice. Yeah, my next one, which I haven't talked to you about, but I've only played recently, but it's snuck in. But
Okay.
it's called Telling Lies.
Telling lies. God, you have to tell me about this one.
So Telling Lies, right? The problem is, as soon as you explain it, it's ruined. It's one of
Right.
those. It's genuinely as soon as you explain it. So, spoilers, go away if you don't want to know. But it is one of my games of the last few years where I've gone, this is fucking awesome. Um, anyway, spoiler territory. You basically start the game as it's all FMV, so it's all full motion video. So
Oh, okay.
so basically, this woman comes in with a laptop. She puts the laptop down. She turns it on, and you play as the woman on the laptop, and it leaves you with this search engine to the FBI, and all she does is type the word "love" and searches, and then it's a bunch of search results, and that's how the game starts.
Because there's a few games. It's like Her Story.
Same
Uh,
people,
okay,
same
yeah.
people. Sam Barlow, yeah.
Great, because I've got Her Story. I've not played it yet, but I know roughly what you mean if it's like Her Story.
Yeah.
And there was another one I was looking at today, actually. I can't remember what it's called, but the idea is like, yeah, you've got this computer interface and you're having to like look things up and piece together like bits based on information you got. So you go into like search engine, like fictional search engines and searching for things and like checking emails and all that. I can't remember what the game's called, but yeah.
It could be telling lies. It could be telling lies. It's the same
Uh,
thing. It's the same idea.
Not like a sort of pastel like.
Oh no, it's no, it's not. It's actual. No, it's not that. But yeah, telling lies is it's you know what I said about one of those games where Kirsty's on the phone and then
That she's rolling in.
suddenly in it. Yeah, it was one of them again. But yeah, telling lies is basically about a man who's telling lies, and that's all I can really say. Because as soon as I
But that's
explain,
like, yeah, but that's really games really struggle with that. They've tried so hard to have like games where they want you to, yeah, talk to a character and figure out if they're lying or not.
yeah.
What's the truth? And like a lot of games have attempted it, and it usually doesn't work very well.
But it honestly got to such a point, like, because you're on a timer. You're actually on a timer that you've got to search as much as you humanly can and then send it off. And then it got to such a point where I'm like, and I kept on saying it all the way through. We found a search result for a guy called Harry. I kept on saying to Kirst, like, who the fuck is Harry? Where's Harry? And you start typing in the most random nonsense, like,
You type in Harold.
Harold. It got to such a point because Harry talked about lingerie. I typed in lingerie, all sorts to see if I could just spiral it off in a different direction to try and get to where Harry was. By the time we'd finished, we'd ended up going down this like route about this sex cam worker.
Right.
We did it, but we ended up somewhere else entirely. And then it's like, oh, this is nonsense. Go back to where we were, and we ran out of time because we went down this like rabbit hole about.
Oh, so part of the idea is to have like, yeah, not red herring. Maybe red herrings is the right word, but yeah, kind of like traps essentially.
But she
Like,
wasn't a trap at the same time. That was the weird part of it. She was part of it all, but we were saying like, oh, but what about such and such a guy and such a woman? And it's like, no, fuck off with the sex cam worker. Let's go back over here. But like, I think there's something stupid like it's something done like 350 clips that you've got to find.
yeah,
It's very thick and gooey. But also the weird part of it is if you find a clip, they're actually talking over like voice, like over FaceTime or whatever. But you're only going to get one side of the conversation.
oh,
So they'll be talking and then there'll just be like a long gap of them saying nothing. And then you like go, because when you first start doing it, you're like,
can you find the other half of those
and you
conversations?
find the other half and then suddenly it clicks. And when you figure that out, you go, oh, and it all starts to like gel because you go, all right, I get why he said something about like, you know, chicken soup. Because it turns out the person on the other side said, I'm not feeling very well. or maybe you should have some chicken soup. And then you start clicking it all together. But you can search chicken soup and you can find the guy. You know, it's like that. Yeah, I only played that a couple of months ago in lockdown of all times, and I fucking loved it. I played it entirely through in one night, and it's one of those when you've done it, it's done. But I loved it, and I would recommend it. Absolutely.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's on PS4. So yeah, it's a bit dodgy with the keyboard.
It counts. Gotta just be PC.
worth playing. Absolutely worth playing. So
I'm gonna look into this. Yeah.
Yeah, Telling Lies, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I don't want to say any more, Stefan, because our viewers need to play it too, and you need to play it, and you need to come back to me and see what you found, because there's different endings as well.
Oh, nice. I mean, I think we're both into it. I think we're both into games that like sort of give you tools and empower you to like find out the truth yourself, like that sort of.
Yeah, I only think I scratched the surface with it. Thing is, I just feel like, no, that was my choice. When I got to the end, I never went back.
Yeah,
that was the weird part of it, because I couldn't keep playing.
That's a really good. If a game's like achieved that, it's a really good sign, because it's really easy to fall into that sort of gamer trap where like, no, this isn't the ultimate perfect true ending. I must like do it again, because I fucked this bit up.
Yeah, and there's bits I know I completely missed, but there was enough of it I found that I felt like, yeah, I can get the gist of what this is, but I feel like I missed a lot. But anyway, I could rant and rave about that game for hours. It's a great game. So what's your next one?
Sticking with a bit with the convention, I think the Witcher 3.
Oh, okay.
I put this next to Horizon because they're both kind of similar, and again, it kind of falls into the category of like big open world RPG thing. That's the rigor at the moment.
Topical because
Cyberpunk literally just came out.
It's come out today as we film this, so
yeah. So hopefully that's good, because I love Cyberpunk stuff and I love The Witcher 3. It's the only game in quite a while where I'm actually excited for it. You know, I'm just like, I have to play this one.
It's weird. I know you lent me The Witcher 3, and for one reason or another, I just couldn't click with it. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. I had the same with my stepdad. He bounced off it. And he loves stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2, and I thought I'd really get into it, but but again, it's for me, it's the world and the characters. It's just, I find it really compelling. They really make you care about it. The way they draw you in, and it. The locations feel like proper locations, so like kind of like lived in. I remember like the first town you go into, and I remember being like kind of overwhelmed, because there was just on the screen you've got like chickens and cats and like things blowing in the breeze and like people doing all sorts of stuff, and it was just.
I think that's half the reason why I just was like, oh, this is way too much. I think I just...
Yeah, it is at first like almost like until you learn what you need to like pay attention to, it is almost like too much, because they've done such a good job almost of like it's such a like a...
It feels lived in.
Active world.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's... I understand why you liked it though. But yeah, I just was like... I can't. This is too much. It's the same thing as like Grand Theft Auto 5. I was like, no, this is far too much. I can't deal. You know. So,
yeah, I was like, I thought the world was great, and the characters you care for. It pulls off something which I think is kind of miraculous, in that it's the third game in a series with quite a complicated story, with characters with a lot of like history and background and everything. And if it's the first one you've played, you're still good. It doesn't leave you behind, but it doesn't... I couldn't detect it anyway. It didn't feel like it did a really stupid expositionary, like obvious, like, let's get you up to speed by like standing here and talking for 10 minutes and explaining who I am and where I came from and what happened in the previous games. It
Yeah.
manages to tell its story, whilst bringing everyone up to speed and like and having people who play the other ones like get something out of it. It's really well put together.
Yeah, I mean, the only Witcher thing I've actually, the only Witcher thing I've actually stuck through and actually done anything with is the TV show.
And I think that butchers it.
I didn't think it was great, but I watched it, you know.
I just like, oh, I mean, there's some things I like about it, but I think it drops the ball a lot of it.
Just go into your Witcher.
It's got its moments, but it's
Oh, really plenty.
But yeah, I think they kind of dropped the ball with the TV series. Hopefully, the second season is improvement.
All right, just that song, man. I'd have played the game if that was in there.
So there's probably a mod on PC to add it.
No, I get why you like it though. I know I'm taking piss, but yeah,
I mean, the last thing I really want to say about it is one of the things I like the most about it, aside from everything else, is the way the sort of the morality and the consequences work in that game. So it's not like in Mass Effect where it's like, here's your good guy option, here's your bad guy option. Which do you want to be a good guy or do you want to be a bad guy? And like The Witcher is just all about like grey morality, and it's not just about it being like grey morality. Like the choices you make are like difficult sometimes, but the other thing is you can't see the full impact of the choice you make until sometimes like later down the line. So it's not like you do like a quest and it's like whatever decision you make, that's the end of it. Like later on, these characters could come back in part of another quest or like part of the story, and what you did earlier will affect it. What
was the DLC like? Did you play that? Blood and Wine?
No, I still need to get to it. Apparently, it's some of the best stuff again. Yeah, what happened with that is I had the regular edition. And then I lent it to my stepdad, and then I wanted to play DLC. And I thought, I'm just going to buy the Game of the Year edition because it was like a couple of quid more than just buying the expansion pack. So I bought it, and PlayStation treats it as a different game, effectively.
Okay,
so
the save. Oh, no.
And it does give you the option to start the DLC at like appropriate character level, and it sort of like gives you some stuff. But I was like, I can't fancy playing the game again anyway, and I just got stuck into that. It's a really long game, so I was playing through it again, and I didn't quite get to the end. So I didn't quite get to the DLC. Oh, it's on my list.
If they do an HD remaster and it goes on, is it on Game Pass? Did it go on Game Pass? It was on at one point, wasn't it?
I don't think it is.
If it goes on Game Pass,
I've got it for free by just having GOG Galaxy. Well, I've got the PlayStation 4 version, and it gave you like the GOG version if you signed up and linked your accounts and stuff. And it's one of those that goes on sale a lot. Like you can get it for really cheap.
Yeah. I might try it again. It might be something I should really play it. Really, it's something I should play and actually give it time. Yeah,
I mean, like I hate the idea that you're obligated to play some games. You know, when people just like you to be a true gamer or to be truly in the conversation, you've had to play everything. No, but I think if you played it enough to get the hang of it and sort of get into the point where you start to see the way like the story plays out and the decisions you make and how they impact things, I think you'd actually really like that.
This is going to be a weird comparison, right? Is it like Death Stranding that it takes that long for you to suddenly go, oh, this clicks? Or is it just you either love it or you hate it with The Witcher? Because Death Stranding does that thing where you almost go into Stockholm and go, I love this now.
Yeah, no, I think with Death Stranding is you have to buy into the mechanics of that game. If you don't buy into what that game's trying to do, you won't enjoy it. If you don't get the idea of that like traversal is meant to be difficult and challenging, and the idea that you need to like build things like bridges and
Zip lines.
zip lines. That's it. I got so into building stuff in that game and helping other people and like completing their projects. Like if you don't, if that does nothing for you, then I don't think you'll really like Death Stranding. But I think with The Witcher, I think the combat is not the best, but it's one of those where you kind of get used to it. There's like a kind of a flow to it. It's
Yeah, because I remember Witcher 2 being like a weird dancing thing. Like,
yeah,
and I just went,
there
no.
is like a rhythm and a timing for it. Is in a way it's like almost turn based in a way. It isn't turn based, but like the way knowing when to attack, when to back off, when to dodge, it's not like a snappy like action thing. It's you need to have like there's rhythm to it, and once you get into the rhythm, like I enjoyed it.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rock. Right, I need a wee. So
okay, I could do with one. Yeah.